Excellence is completion.
Striving to be like your best self.
When you make a decision, it needs to be a committed decision for whatever decision that is for life.
Hey guys, I'm Ameerah Saleem.
I'm Negeena Yaqin.
And I'm Lawanna Broughton.
And we've been stamped by Raleigh Marketing.
Raleigh Marketing is the one-stop shop.
My name Negeena, it comes from Afghanistan. That's where I am from. So where I come from, there is lack of doctors. There always has been, especially female doctors. So my mother and my parents have programmed me, wanting me to become a doctor to serve my country. So that has been my dream, my parents' dream that became my dream from age of 4. But at one time we had to flee our country. So we came to Europe because of war. And more because of the lack that I'm female and I didn't have access to get education in my country. So my parents made the decision of moving to Europe because we are 3 sisters and 1 brother. So the 3 sisters had to get education and get their freedom and live the life that they want to, the way they want to. We came to Denmark. I made it to medical school. I came through medical school. I did it. And I was having a really good life, a decent life I call it today, but in the past, in the environment that I was, among the people that I was living the luxury life as a doctor. Especially my husband was a doctor, that was double of luxury. Again, the little fish in the big pond, or opposite, the opposite.
Yeah, big fish in a small pond.
Yes, that's the life I was living, okay? English is my fourth language. My mother got seriously ill. I had done my first year of residency as a medical doctor. My mother got seriously ill and I knew she had very less time left. It was a matter of 6 months. Of course, I would want to be there for her and do whatever I can do to make her last days as good, as comfortable as possible. And I am the second eldest sibling in the family, so I was in a position where I had to take more responsibility. So I was happy, very excited, not excited, I was comfortable with the fact asking my boss to give me time off because I was thinking I'm not asking for salary. So I can be away from job as much as I want, as much as it's needed. So I had my letter in my hand going to my boss and like, I need time off to take care of my mother, no salary at all. And I thought this will be a very short conversation because I'm not asking for salary, but that was not the case. She asked me, how much time do you need? How much time do you need when your mother is seriously ill? I don't know. And that's a very difficult question to answer when you are in so much pain and having that huge responsibility as the eldest in the family. I felt humiliated that answering that question by the fact that how come I have positioned myself in this situation? I have done this to me. My mother, who's seriously ill, she left everything behind to give me freedom and a good education. Yes, I got education. Freedom, not at all. That moment I decided that I will change my lifestyle because I knew that my job was dictating my lifestyle. So my mother, I was there for her. When I look back at her journey of being sick, her passing away, I wouldn't change a thing because I did my best over the best. And that was a very good learning experience for me because I chose to use that experience to make me stronger. And being a very, very small family in a strange new country, still immigrants, we are very close. So I knew that my family will need me again in future. They will need more love, more attention, more time from me. And I will not ask someone to give me that freedom. So while I wouldn't say grief, while I was processing me losing my mother, I was talking with myself, I was talking to God. Help me change my lifestyle. And by lifestyle, I mean job. Because my husband is a doctor as well, so that was double up on being committed, imprisoned to a job. So while I'm having this conversation, I met total stranger on a Zoom call at midnight. She was speaking so fast that I could barely follow up with her. And at that time, my English was not that good. I have developed it more being in this environment now. And she said, let's get you started. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And the reason why I said yes to her is I loved her energy. I loved the way she spoke. And I had met one of the other mentors 5 minutes on a Zoom call. And the way they spoke about future, my excitement for future, I was like, I'm all in. Because I knew what I have had, what I have in front of me. But what if they can give me something else? What if? And that's how it all started for me. And I was actually signing up to being mentored to another masterclass of self-improvement. So next day I was on a call with Miss Desi Lipova again, and she said, you're in business. And I said, yes, I am in your business. I paid you last night. She said, no, your business. You can build this up. You can make it your own. And since then, I haven't looked up. I have had my good ride. I have had success, and I have periods not doing anything and not having the needed growth in my business and the needed growth in myself. But I'm happy and grateful for saying yes to a person I didn't know at all at midnight in my pajamas. And I really hope and wish that other people who are in pain, who are grieving, who are losing, they use that situation to their advantage. There's always something good in everything, and I heard that in a TV show once, and I kept repeating that to myself during those periods where I had major responsibility on my shoulders, and I didn't know how to deliver it best. And I kept saying to myself, there's something good in every situation. And I was like, God, how can this be good? It sounded so bizarre to say that while you have just lost your mother, but I had to do that in order to be the strength for my siblings and for my son. And I chose to make it big. I chose to make it count in my future. I was looking me in my future, telling the story to my kids that this is what I did when I lost your grandmother. And I'm already doing it. And I'm happy. I'm grateful for me having a very honest conversation with myself and listening to the people who would give me and not listen to my environment, the past environment I had. Like my sister who told me you're settled. I was far from being settled. She said it out of love, but for me that was one big limitation. So this is how it started for me.
Good start.
Good start, and I don't know where it's going to bring me, but I know it will be big and beautiful and wonderful, and I'm looking forward to see who else is going to be with us in this ride.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you define excellence?
Excellence. I love that you're asking. That's your first question, because that's the first word, almost the first word I heard from my mentor, Miss Desi Lipova, this morning. She read a quote from me. She said, excellence is completion. And she asked me, would you please give me your take on it? So whatever you start, you finish it successfully. So that's excellence for me.
My name is Lawanna Broughton, and I'm a single mother of 6. And before that I got into this environment, I was working 2 full-time jobs, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was like, it has to be more to life. It has to be more to life than just work. I had no time for myself. I had no time for my kids. I had time for nothing but work and paying bills. And so I started praying. I was like, God, it has to be something more to life besides this. And I got into Vishen Lakhiani of Mind Valley, and I was like, okay, because I was also searching for, I know about God, I know about the Father and the Son, but I wanted to know more about the Spirit, right? Because I don't feel like they really teach you that in church, but that's just my opinion. So like I said, I got found Vision Laconnie, and I was like, got into that because of Mind Valley. And then one day I was just on YouTube for whatever reason, and Bob Proctor popped up, and I was like, this is it, because he was talking mindset. He was talking that your mind is the most powerful thing that you have. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to sign up for this. I just have to have it. So I signed up for Bob Proctor, his coaching program, and he was talking self-image, mindset. And a lot of times we're held back because of the way we think of ourselves. And next thing I know, I'm in a program, and then this stranger reached out to me on Facebook, and she said, hey, Lawanna. I'm like, okay, who is this? I said, do I really want to talk to this person? But I did. And she says, you in the Bob Proctor program? I said, yes, I am. And so she says, well, what do you want out of life? And that hit me, because I had never asked myself what I wanted out of life. And no one had ever asked me what I wanted out of life, because I'm like, well, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. You go to school, you get good grades. I went to college, graduated from college, and I got a good paying job. And so she said, so I said, well, I really don't know. I just know I don't want to be working 2 full-time jobs. And so she said, well, as Bob says, tell me what you want and I'll show you how to get it. And so that's what I told her. And so she said, well, let me call you. And so next thing I know, I had signed up for a business I didn't even know that I wanted to be in. And I was angry, to be honest with you, very angry, because I had said I never wanted to be in this industry again, because I had been in the industry, many companies before, and I didn't have any results. And so I spoke with my daughter at the time, and she says, Mom, look, this one may be different. Just see what you can learn. It's just, see about the environment, because you don't know. And I said, okay, I will see about the environment. And so next thing I know, I'm flying to Indiana by myself, because never done that before, and I did. And I met Desi Lipova, and that was the stranger who reached out to me on Facebook. I met her, and then I also met Darren Gibson. And during that time, it just felt like I should have been there, like this is where I was supposed to be. And so she told me, she says, give me 1% of your trust, and I earned the other 99%. And that was like almost 2 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. And so from this and my brand, what I want to do is to help single moms, because that is something that she did ask me. She said, how many sources of income do you have? And I said, well, 2, because I have 2 jobs. And she says, well, you have children and you're a single mom. What if something happens to you and you can't work? Who's going to take care of your children? Or are you going to have income coming in? And I said, no. And I never thought about that before. And I was like, thank God that I've never been sick, and I've been able to take care of my kids through both jobs and everything. So then I thought about it, and I said, how many single moms out there are like me? A lot of us. And my vision is to help over 1,000 single moms to become whatever financial independence means for them. I don't know what that means, if it's 6 figures, but not to be sitting there waiting on a child support check that may not come. Because they always say that Papa's a maybe, but that's Mom's baby. And so that's my vision, is to help as many single moms as I can. There are a lot of single moms out there that have never had their nails done, never had their makeup done, never had their hair done professionally. I met a young lady not too long ago. She was working at Burger King. And I asked her, I said, are you happy with your job? She says, well, it's a job. And I said, yeah, I get that. It's a job. I said, but are you happy? She says, well, I've been working fast food since I was 15 years of age. And I said, well, how old are you now? She says, oh, I'm 32. And she just looked like hope was all gone, that this is the best that I can do. And I want to be the one to say, you can do more. You can do more. But when you don't know, you don't know. When you're not in an environment to show you more, you don't know. So that's my vision, is to show single moms that, like that young lady that I met, it's more to life than just going to work, going to work, going to work. Let me help you. Let me get your nails done. let me get your hair done. And just to do that. So that's my story. I will piggyback off of Negeena. That is true. Excellence is completion. Due to the fact, look, again, like I said, when you make a decision, it needs to be a committed decision for whatever decision that is for life. And you follow through that commitment. So excellent is about making that commitment, making that decision, and being the best that you can be when you make that decision.
I have dreams, I have goals, and I just want to give a little background on like how I came up with my vision. So my mom, she had been battling health issues. Actually, she told me before I was even born. In fact, she like delivered early because she delivered me early, a little early, because she said that she was having like kidney issues and stuff like that. So they had to like deliver me early. So fast forward, I'm in elementary school now. She gets diagnosed with cancer. She goes through the whole chemo and all this stuff like that. And, you know, it affected her. And my mom said that the same cancer that she had, my grandmother had as well. So, you know, I had that belief like, oh my God, like one of her daughters are going to get it, you know. And, you know, I believed in like things being hereditary until I found out about epigenetics. And that's just basically a condition where it's not necessarily that things are hereditary. It's more so the environment. So it's not like we have the same diseases don't carry in our family. It's our behavior patterns, how we eat, how we think, how we sleep. We are like, our families are like tribal and community. So we behave and act the same way. So it's not necessarily like in our bloodline, it's in our behavior line, so to speak. So I always had a fear of like developing something, you know, as I got older. And when I was like 22 years old, I came back with my first and only and last negative test result for like cancerous cells like in my body to some degree. And then, you know, I immediately I started crying because I'm like, I'm only 22. And the doctor's like, I'm like, I have cancer. The doctor's like, calm down, you don't have cancer. But, you know, you have signs of, you know, cells, you know, growing in your body. And, you know, I'm like, okay, so how could I do this? He's like, well, really, you can change this with, you know, nutrition and lifestyle. And it just kind of clicked in my mind, like, that's it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it? That's all I got to do? So it was crazy because I came back a year later and I changed some stuff up in my diet. And he said everything, you know, it was, you know, it was cool. Like, there was no signs of anything. So I was like, okay, like, this nutrition stuff works, you know? So fast forward, you know, my mom, she became more and more ill over the years. Her cancer went back into remission. And she actually had multiple sicknesses throughout the years. But I will give my mom her props because she held on and she fought a very, very long battle that most people would be out in, like, you know, very early on in her life. But she really held on for over 25 years just battling certain things. So she held on as long as she could. I tried to get my mom as healthy as I could. And like Negeena said, like, you know, you don't have any regrets when you know you did everything you could to really be there for the person that brought you in the world. So, so basically I started learning more and more about nutrition, and that's why I'm passionate about health and fitness and stuff like that, because I realized we got to keep our bodies healthy if we want to have longevity in this life, you know. My mom, she had, you know, issues with, you know, just fighting old paradigms in her mind about, you know, a lot of people do. There's some people who they really rather die before they eat a freaking salad or eat apples because they're just not used to it. And it's not really about the food, it's how the perception of what they're used to eating, you know, as opposed to this new stuff that's healthy. So I educated myself on health and fitness and how to get other people healthy. And I've been doing a great job with myself over the years. I've never been medicated or on any type of prescription drugs. I keep myself very healthy. I stay active and all that stuff. Fast forward, I joined a community that is, you know, helping me realize my goals and my dreams, because I realize a lot of people have these issues. A lot of people nationwide and probably even worldwide die from preventable illnesses that are related to the things that they put inside their body. and just from basically not being active and moving. It's part of life, you know? So my thing is, when I got in this environment, I realized, okay, I need money because I want to have farms, and I want to, I want to grow my own produce across the country. And I realized, like, there's this thing called food deserts there in America. And it's basically where people have access to, don't have access to nutritious foods. Like, they have to literally grocery shop at a liquor store or a bodega or something like that, or a little market where everything is canned, packaged. They get the worst of the worst food, the bottom of the bottom barrels. And it's like so many of these communities across the country, like so many. So people are like being born into, being unhealthy and dying very early on, just from not having access to nutrition and not having the education behind it. So, by me being in this environment, and I was like, I want farms, I want a chain of grocery stores, I want to be able to provide people with not only just, nutrition and education, but I want to put, grocery stores in these particular areas to help service the people that don't have access to them, that, they have to go like 5 miles out for a decent grocery store. So, my goal and my dream is just really to get as many Americans healthy as possible, and help educate them on how their body works, and, so people can be here for their grandchildren, so people can, outlive, so the next generation could actually outlive their parents' generation, because they said that, this generation in America, they're not expected to outlive their parents, meaning even if their parents die before them, let's say if their parents die at 88, they'll probably die at 50-something, 60-something years old. And they said this is like the first generation, like these next generations coming up, the children, they are expected to die much younger. And it's sad to say. So I'm like, I got to do my part. You know what I'm saying? I got to get this education out on like what people are putting into their bodies. And not only do I have to put the education out, people actually have to have access to, the type of foods and the produce that can help them live a longer and healthy life. So that's what I'm passionate about. And that's why I joined this community that can help me, help me build my business and help fund this project that I have going on, and help me get to the next level. And what I believe excellence is I agree with with them, but just to add on to that, I just think excellence is really about striving to be like your best self on every level. Your best self physically, your best self mentally, your best self emotionally, developing yourself in all those different areas, developing yourself financially. Like, we all do things, but are we really doing them at the capacity that we can do them at, So I feel like that's excellence. If you are striving to do things at the highest capacity that you're able to do it. And you have to be actually honest with yourself and actually be able to say, hey, am I, I know I'm doing this, but am I doing it to my best ability? Am I doing it to my full capacity? And if you can answer yes to that, then you're definitely striving for excellence, for sure.
Any final thoughts of inspiration to our audience?
My final thought is basically to never give up on yourself. There's always a reason to get better and go on, like always. Know that there's help out there, there's people out there, and that are willing and committed to showing you better, and so you could become better. And my overall inspiration is just to tell people just to never give up and to always believe in themselves. And I know it sounds cliche, but just believe in yourself and always know that there's a better way, especially in the age that we're in right now, where you can find, your next guardian angel online. So definitely just build that belief and keep going.
My message would be that your thoughts define your life. So wherever you are in life, it is a product of the thoughts you have had in the past. So if you're not satisfied with what you have, be aware of your thoughts and your feelings. Once you have that self-awareness and you're willing to work with that, you can achieve anything in life. And when I say anything, it's anything literally. But you need to have that self-awareness, and it does take time, it is a process. You might not like it, but is everything worth it, because you are God's highest form of creation. Value that, be aware of it. That would be my message.
My message would be, what stops us is not who we think we are that stops us, it's who we think we're not. Because in society, we're always taught negative. We see negative and we think negative. So it's always like, it's not who you think you are that holds you back, it's who you think you're not. So instead of thinking of why I can't do something, think of why you can do something. And I would also say, for those who are stuck, remember this, the scripture that says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Remember, that's the key word, you're walking through. But so many of us get stuck and we think, oh my gosh, this is my life. No, you walk through it. Keep going, keep going. So that would be my inspiration.
Hey guys, I'm Ameerah Saleem.
I'm Negeena Yaqin.
And I'm Lawanna Broughton.
And we've been stamped by Raleigh Marketing.